What's up, YouTube? Topic of today's moto vlog is a bit of an instructional. I wanted to make a video on how to corner aggressively for beginners. I think cornering is the most fun that you can have on a motorcycle, and I've spent a lot of time watching different videos and reading different things, trying to educate myself to learn more about how it's done properly so that it can be done faster, of course. First, wear your protective gear. I commute to work every day on my bike. I don't always wear the proper everything, but if you're going to find a back road and do some aggressive cornering, that's the one time you really want to have your helmet, your gloves, your jacket, your boots, because the chances of you going down obviously increase when you're taking corners. I said it in another video, about like 80% of motorcycle crashes are in corners with no other vehicle involved. So you'd be wise to protect yourself. So that's number one. Number two, I would say just get familiar with turning at slow speeds in general, and get familiar with your own bike. And a subcategory or a little bullet point that I would put under that is you need to understand countersteering. Now this is another topic for another video, and I'll link to a video or two to help you out with it. But countersteering basically utilizes the gyroscopic effects of your tires to your advantage to lean yourself into a turn. So if you want to turn right, you twitch your handlebar to the left, and the gyroscopic rebound of your tire turning that way bounces it back in the other direction, and you in turn lean into the turn. So if you see, it's a real quick twitch, but if I twitch it to the left, it immediately pushes me over to the right. So that's what you want to do just before you're entering the turn, when you're right at the second that you want to start your lean angle. The next step is to know the road that you're going to be taking these aggressive turns on. This road that I'm going to be doing demonstrations on today, I'm very familiar with. It's right near my house, and it's one of my favorite roads to take and, do my hooligan shit on. But you do not want to push it in a corner that you're not familiar with. Now, I'm not saying take it at, like 15 miles an hour, but just start slow so you know what the corner looks like. And then you can push it a little bit the next time, see where you're at, get comfortable with the speed, figure out if you can take it a little faster, and from there bump it up like 5 or 7 miles an hour every time until you get to a point where you're not comfortable going any faster, and you'll be good. You'll definitely have some fun eventually once you work your way up. But so with all that being said, that's all kind of preparation. But as far as the steps that you take when you're actually getting into the corner, so you've done the first two steps, you're protected, you're comfortable with your bike. You've done the third step, you've taken the corner already a few times, hopefully. And so you want to figure out a good entry speed. That's the speed that you're going to be at when you slide your butt cheek over on your bike, lean over, and enter the corner. A good rule of thumb that I've found is with those speed limit signs, not speed limit signs, but speed suggestion signs for corners like we just passed a few times. On a sport bike, at least on a bike that weighs about 400 pounds, like mine does, you can comfortably take a corner at about twice that recommended speed. And that's, you know, you'll get it'll be a nice rush, but you won't feel like you're pushing it too hard. I just feel like that's a good starting point after you're familiar with the corner. So those are some suggestions for entry speed, like this sign right here. That's what I was talking about. So you pick your entry speed. Once you get, say this was a tighter turn, this would be around the time when I'd start my my lean. Let's let these cars pass. So you pick your entry speed, and then you countersteer at the appropriate moment. And then once you're leaned over, you pick your entry speed and also the gear that you're going to be in, because you do not want to be switching gears while you're leaned over. Preferably, if you're on a 250, you'd probably want to take any corner where you're going above 45 miles an hour in fifth gear, because you want to have a little bit of acceleration left. You don't want to be too low in your revs, and you'll know why when I get to my next point, which is you want to slowly roll on the throttle, just like I'm doing now. What that's going to do is it's going to give you just a little bit of just enough acceleration to transfer weight to the back tire, because obviously your back tire is bigger. It can handle more weight. If you accelerate after you start your lean, a lot of people say at the apex, but I think it's better maybe a quarter of the way into the turn, halfway until you get to the apex. You want to start that continuous roll on. And like I said, that's going to transfer weight to the back tire, increasing your, it seems counterintuitive because you're accelerating in a turn, but it increases your traction because you're forcing more weight to the bigger tire. I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. So, to recap, pick your gear, pick your entry speed. Once you get to the proper moment, which on this turn would be about here, you lean over, countersteer, and lean your weight to one side. You can slide a butt cheek over if you want, but usually just leaning your upper body bending at the waist is enough. And what that does is you transfer weight to one side of the bike, obviously, and that allows you to take the turn with less lean angle, which also gives you more traction. To give you an example, to make it more clear, let's say you took the same turn in the same gear at the same speed, and you took the same line through the turn. The first time you took it, you didn't lean over at all. You didn't lean your body into the turn at all. You just stood straight up parallel with the bike, with the tires. The second time, you leaned over into the turn and shifted your weight to the inside of the turn. That second turn, you would have to lean your bike over less because of the transfer of weight. So you see, if you have less of a lean angle, more of your tire, you have a bigger contact patch on the ground, and that equals more traction. So flick the bike over like I did just now, lean in, continuous roll on, and then once you get to the end, you countersteer again in the opposite direction to lean your bike back up. So countersteer, lean in, countersteer to the outside, lean your bike back up. Alright, It sounds like a lot, but once you do it a few times, you start to get used to it. And you'll be taking corners like a pro. Maybe almost. Ideally, this would be better if you took it to a track, but we don't all have tracks near our houses. Now, obviously, you don't want to be doing this on super busy streets. As you can see, actually, there are way more cars on the street than there normally are. But this road is kind of out in the boonies. There's no cops. There aren't many cars. Not really any houses, so there's not going to be kids running across the street and stuff like that. Like I've said a million times in my previous videos, you need to be wise about where you choose to do this kind of stuff. But anyway, I think that's about it. I hope you got something from this. I'm going to link to a few videos that can help you out that will explain it more in depth down below. But I just wanted to provide a concise step-by-step explanation of how you can turn aggressively, because I think it's the most fun that you can have on a motorcycle, like I said. And just wanted to help you guys out. So anyway, this is Roach Rider out. Like, comment, subscribe, and hope you all have a happy motherfucking Halloween. Later, guys.